Hey, what is good, everybody? It's your boy PsydeShow and Skeptic. We are the Devil's Work podcast. We're here to talk about some fucked up movies and tell them back to you. So you ain't gotta watch them, or please do.
You can, you can't, you will, you won't.
And today we are doing a very very cool one. This is kind of a departure for us. I feel it is labeled, like, I will defend it right off the bat. It's labeled as a horror crime movie when you Google it. So right off the bat, fuck you.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more of a thriller, but I mean,
Very much so.
you know,
Yeah.
it's
No, it
definitely
yeah.
tame by our standards. The
100%.
the trigger warning list is a little light tonight.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, because as I was writing them, I was like, oh, it really is only like two. That's really weird. Yeah. I don't know. But again, does that speak to our desensitization here? Perhaps.
Does it speak to the mental break we needed after the last
Yeah,
several episodes?
exactly.
The trauma we've endured?
Oh man, we have been going through the fucking ringer over here. Emotionally, we're just not all right, but we persevere, we move.
Just keep swimming.
Exactly. So we're going to be covering a very fun one today. Today we are covering a movie called 13 Tzameti, and this was directed by Géla Babluani, I think is how we landed on the pronunciation. But
Let
this,
me see.
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't double check my
I'll
work.
I'll give you that one.
I was,
I think you did it.
I think we're gonna call it. All
I
right,
think
cool.
you did it. Let's go home.
So we're doing this one today. It was released in 2005, from what I see, and then it's a Georgian movie. Is that am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
yeah,
say, but
from
Georgian,
the
right?
the company of or the company, the country
The
of
country of Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's a Georgian film, um, but everyone in it is speaking French, because I believe this is a mostly French production
I wonder if that's just the language of
of
Georgia.
Georgia. Yeah,
Nope, nope. There is a Georgian language.
Georgian language. Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say, because I believe, well, because that leads me right into this. Tzameti is the Georgian word for 13, so the movie
That
actually just
that
translates to
explains
13,
because
13.
I was every time they said 13, it was
Yeah.
a different word in French, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I thought it would be
Which is closest to Spanish, if you really like the French language. When you start
yeah.
listening to them side by side, they're very close to Spanish words.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's translates to 13, 13. And this movie is a trip, man. It's what was it? It's, like I said, 2005, so it's very much contemporary, but it's filmed like in black and white. They were using some very interesting lenses, I will say, for the cinematography. Very very interesting film.
I didn't expect it to be black and white.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that helps it though
They were
so
they were
much.
definitely going for like a noir thing.
Yep. Yep, exactly. And which that's oh man. Okay, that's the thing. I have talked about my love of noir on this show so much. I since fucking way back, since we did like Exorcist 3, which is like the first like proper noir movie we did. We also did Fallen. Go check out those episodes. But yeah, I love noir. And this is exactly like you said. This is exactly noir. They have the light jazz kind of come in, very subtle. And that's the thing too, very limited soundtrack, very limited score in this one, which I actually really dug. I really dug the subtleness of this movie, because we'll talk about the counterpart in a bit, but yeah, that was not doing it for me, man. But yeah, he basically, for those who don't know, what year did that come out? The remake, because it's
Oh,
just a
oh.
remake.
When you said the counter, I was like, does he mean number six in the? I
No,
was
no, no.
like
Yeah,
trying to
yeah. No, no, the other movie itself, I forgot what it was.
2010.
2010. 5 years
So
later,
5 years later, yeah, with Statham.
he did the same goddamn movie. Literally, it's just the same movie.
Oi, I'm I'm the
I'm the-
roofer. They should have named
That's
it.
stupid.
They should have named it the roofer.
So fucking stupid. Yeah.
He
Very dumb.
he would have been there, and everyone would have like had their revolvers in their hand, and he would have been like, "Oi, bloke, I didn't know this was candy to this morning. It's you geezers.
God damn it, dude. They
I'm
give him
just a roofer,"
they
and
gi-
then he'd kill everyone. He would
they
take a
give him
man and drive a bullet through his skull with his
just
bare
push it through.
hands, and then he'd say, "But where the crystal meth?" And
Fucking
that's a
stupid.
throwback to Crank,
God damn it. All right.
because that's what Crank is. You see,
They gave him the dumbest fucking hat in the reboot, dude.
shut
It's
it, you
so
toilet.
fucking stupid. It's literally I just was talking about right before we started rolling. It's just the Expendables before the Expendables. They just put
You,
everybody who was in that motherfucker in 13.
you know, I think they really missed a step with the Expendables. I may have said this before, but when I watched the first Expendables movie, and I haven't seen any others, but when I watched the first one, because I really shouldn't have been any others, but when I watched the first one, at the very end, like I called this at the very beginning, and it's a shame they didn't do this, but at the very end, when he's like having a showdown with the main bad guy and
I
everything.
couldn't
I,
fucking tell
I
you.
I couldn't tell you
Yeah,
either,
yeah.
but there was a climactic moment at some point in that fucking movie, and what I was expecting to happen was, there's always that like little moment where they get to say something snarky or clever or whatever.
Mhm.
I expected the guy to be like, "Who do you think you are?" And for him to be like, "Us? We're expendable."
So
Why didn't he do it?
it's-
Does he ever do it?
I
Write
think you
in,
might. Yeah,
please.
exactly.
Please write
Because we're
in.
never watching those
I'm
fucking
not,
movies.
yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not going through that just to find that out. But
No,
I am curious
it's
if
so
they
dumb.
ever did it.
No, I
Oh,
don't even know.
expendable.
So, yeah, barring all of that, I'll throw my gripes in. I threw it on, in all honesty. I threw it on right before we went to go record today, and was just kind of had it on the background, and just kind of kept popping in every now and then, just like questioning what the fuck I was watching on the screen, laughing hysterically at some of the choices that they made. Very stupid. Anyway, let's get back to
I feel
this
like there
movie.
has you have to answer me this question. Are there action scenes in it?
No, well, kind of. They try and give motivations to everybody. I'll tell you, like, they fucking rewrote and wrote in a lot of things for like characters that did not exist in the fucking original movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
just a lot of added backstory. Like Mickey Rourke is playing the nemesis in this one, the main heel, and they like
Number
there's
six.
yeah, but no, I don't even think he's number 6 in this one. Like he's number 11, and like, but
Well, yeah,
he
but I just mean in
yeah,
this
in this
movie,
movie,
number six is the guy.
but then they give him this backstory where like he was in Mexico in prison and like just had gotten kidnapped into this fucking thing. I have no clue, dude. It was stupid. I was like, what the fuck is
I'll tell you, I understand the urge to inject plot into this
this?
film.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But I will say over everything, it made me appreciate the original a lot fucking more. Let me tell you that much. But for those being like, what the fuck are they talking about who have no interest in seeing this movie? We're gonna give you a pretty big spoiler off the top. Like I said, the whole reason for this movie was because if you go in as blind as possible into it, it is very shocking. The reveal happens and it's very fun, and like that's the thing. When I first saw this film, I had no clue about what was going on. I had just seen a picture, which was the main poster, looked it up, ordered the DVD on eBay. I want to say it was, and yeah, waited a couple days, saw it, would had just my mind fucking blown, dude. I was like,
Is
this
that
is
where you
sick.
watched it? You just have it on DVD?
Yeah, I have it on DVD. Actually, I have the. Let me get the thing. Hold on, because it's a good thing to show. I think. Well, we talk about it. This is the DVD cover, and that's the only image that I saw. If you can like, you
Mm-hmm.
can make
I
it out.
could, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So
barely.
like
Oh,
it's just
that's
like yeah,
me.
the
I can see me.
fucking
Hi,
so yeah,
me.
and that's all I saw was the cover, and I was like, oh, okay, fucking, that's cool, that's chill, and like black and white. I was like, I'm sold, I'm in, and that's all I needed. And again, when you go in and like the first 15-20 minutes of the movie happen, you're just kind of like, okay, cool, what's going on? Like, and then the movie just kind of just sideswipes you, and you're like plunged into this like anxiety ridden.
It does take quite a while to get
Yeah, yeah. It
started.
is a little bit of a slow burn. It is, but I think there's a little bit of a payoff to it, and I think it works really well. But we'll have our discussion about that as we go on. I just want to give this general overview. So
hmm
if you want to go in blind, highly recommend. I think you were able to find this on the
I
Internet
just
Archive.
I just Googled stream 13 Tzameti and
Okay.
Internet Archive was like first or second link
Yeah, because
and
we're all about paying for the movies here, but this one you just cannot find anywhere streaming. It is not
yeah.
available.
And it does have captions. You just have to turn them on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So go, please find this movie if you're interested. Highly recommend. It's shocking. It's fucking awesome. Check it out. For those who are, gonna just listen, we go on. Here we go. So Sebastian is a Georgian immigrant in
Oh,
France.
we did not do the trigger warning.
I'm doing the overview right now so
Oh,
that I
I'm
can
so
get to it.
sorry.
Yeah, you're
So
good. You're
sorry.
good. So Sebastian is a Georgian immigrant in France who takes a roofing job to earn some money. After his employer dies before paying him, he pilfers a ticket and a letter which he thinks may lead him to some quick cash. Instead, Sebastian becomes the latest player of a deadly game in which gamblers bet on the outcome of Russian roulette matches. So, therefore, going into the trigger warnings, obvious gun violence, gambling, and there's needle drugs too at the same time. So it's a
Talk
lot.
about a needle drop, am I right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, right up top too.
And even the like it's pretty like all the you hear a gunshot and then you hear a body drop. You don't really see too much.
There's literally like I want to say no blood present
I
in
don't
the
think
film.
so. I
I
don't
want to say
think at
there's
all.
like at all.
It's
Whereas
it's
in the reboot that was completely different.
it's hilariously sterile now that you mention it.
Yeah, 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 for sure. It's very much like, yeah, you just hear the gunshot. You'll see like the angle from like where you're supposed to see the violence happening, but you really don't see anything because it's kind of shadowed or lit well. Like that's the thing. Like the shadows also do a lot for this movie. Like,
It's all more implication, so
mm-hmm,
I'm
mm-hmm.
wondering just how like low budget this was.
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't come across that one, but if you do come across that, let me know.
Budget 1.6 million, box office 795 223.
Was that for the 2010 one
No,
or
that's
the
13
original
Zemeti.
for
Yeah,
13
that's the
May? Okay,
original.
cool. That's pretty good. Pretty good considering. I mean, yeah, you could. That's basically all going to the structures, the cars, and like the costumes and shit, maybe. But it's not really going towards a whole lot. Like, there's not a lot of action that happens in this movie, like we're talking about. It is
hmm
very much a noir. It's a noir movie. The noir movies are slow burn. They kind of take their time.
It's a weird movie to cast Statham in the remake of.
Yeah, it's and he's playing the guy who plays Alan or Alan or whatever, however you pronounce the name. The guy who keeps him there, essentially one of the two guys. It's Alan and Romaine.
Is that the guy in the black jacket?
You're gonna have to be more specific.
The guy who at the end of everything he's walking and they're like, "Where are you going?" and he says, I'm following him." And then they said, "No,
Oh,
go get our
that's Jose.
coats."
That's Jose.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, for sure.
Wow. The
Yeah, yeah.
fact that we just pieced that out from there, we deserve an award.
No, I'm telling you, no, it's dude. Okay, that was another thing. People have to know. Like, this motherfucker took some brain power to actually take the notes of this. I had to keep researching who the fuck was who because there is no indicator of who is who, like when they're talking, or even like the relationship between two characters until it's like specifically
I'm
stated.
seeing so many names here, and
Mhm.
I did not I heard
Hear
like
a
three
single one.
names.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it was a lot. So I'm gonna pat myself on the back right before we even get started to piece this fucker together. Cause and if I fuck up someone's name, then oh well. So what?
What the fuck was I supposed to do?
Exactly. Yeah. So, but like I said, if this all sounds good to you, go check it out. If not, come along for the journey with us. We're about ready to get started.
Start your engine.
I think we have, yeah, we got all the trigger warnings and all that stuff. So, all right, let's get it going. The film opens with an introduction to our lead, Sebastian, coming home from what appears to be a landscaping job. He greets his family with an envelope filled with cash. His mother excitedly asks if it's finished, and he tells her to count it. His younger sister sits next to her and smiles as the screen fades to black. We get a title card and a gunshot to kick the edge into high gear. It's very, very funny how that kind of it's just very silly. I was like, okay, okay, that's fine.
I can't even remember the beginning of it. I was like so focused throughout the rest of the movie. I can't remember
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
part.
That's fair. It does get tense. That's the thing. Like it really does. They really do, and it's a really subtle way of doing the tension too, which is very fun. So the next day, we see a postman deliver a letter to a mailbox at the house that Sebastian is working on. A man in a beetle drives up to attempt to steal the letter, but locks eyes with Sebastian and instead keeps walking. As Sebastian continues about his work, we see a woman named Mime yelling at a man named Jean Francois to come back inside. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name. It is literally spelled.
I
They don't say it at all. Exactly.
no.
It is spelled MME. So I don't know if that. Yeah, I was like, I've never heard that fucking name in my life.
Hey France, get a real language.
So stupid. That was
I
good.
mean, what the fuck are we supposed to do with that?
Yeah. So I just assumed a meme. Or like, I'm not gonna go Mimi. I don't think it's Mimi.
I don't think so either. I
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
we're going with meme.
It's
And if
okay. She's not in it for very much.
exactly, yeah, yeah. So um he appears to be dazed and stumbling around, unaware of what's going on. She keeps shouting at him, but sorry. She keeps shouting, but he takes a few steps and collapses into the sand. She calls for help, and Sebastian drops what he's doing to assist her. She gets on top of Jean Francois and starts slapping him around, saying, "Wake up, asshole! Wake up, you shit!" When Sebastian arrives, he asks if he should call an ambulance, but she says that he'll be all right. They just have to lift him up and get him running. So they start like fucking dragging his corpse essentially across the beach. It's
It's so
creepy.
weird. I more got the feeling he was like sick, but I guess we're supposed to gather that he's just like smoking opium or
That's
something.
that's exactly what it is. So he's just been on yeah, because the reveal, spoilers. The reveal is he's on drugs, but you're not really sure what the fuck is going on because he just seems like out of it and just like woozy.
Mm.
I thought it was maybe like drunk or something. You know what I mean? I was just like, I don't know what they were implying, but yes,
He's just like a
we see
zombie.
that. Yeah, he really is just kind of like very very lazy. He got the fentanyl.
Oh yeah,
So she gets
big time cat daddy.
so she gets I don't know. So while they're occupied, the Beetle Man comes back for the letter and he quickly leaves. They finally get Jean Francois back inside, and he goes on a little tangent about how lovely it is that Sebastian is only 22 years old because some people are 25 or 30, which I was like, okay. Well, the two are talking
What
downstairs.
25 or 30?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
this,
So that was just like, I was like, okay.
quite a discrepancy.
Exactly. So while the two are talking downstairs, we see my man enter the bathroom and dispose of a syringe kit. Beetle Man opens the letter with a fancy blade and reads it. We cut back to Sebastian working on the roof as he overhears the couple arguing again. She seems to be worried about their finances, and he weakly tries to reassure her that he's got money coming soon. He tells her, "I've already been paid, remember?" And when she says she's never understood that, he says that she never will and not to worry about it. Just dickhead, man. Like, absolute dickhead.
You hysterical woman.
Yeah, yeah. He's just a fucking asshole. It's so funny. Like this Vincent Price looking ass motherfucker with his
Wow,
like
accurate.
straight up straight up with his like ascot and shit.
I
Like
was just on an adventure with Scooby Doo.
so true. It's so funny. And dude,
Don't judge me.
in the fucking remake, they try to like make the guy look like him by just having like wet, straightened hair. It's so strange. It's so. I was like, what? Is that the only similarity that you guys are gonna try for? It's very strange, dude. It was goofy, man. The fucking remake was goofy, and I'm gonna keep shitting on the remake while we're talking about this.
You gotta make it wet.
So fucking dumb, dude. It was so bad. Anyway, back at Sebastian's home, his brother asks him if he's gotten an advance on the job yet, which he hasn't. But Jean-Francois tells him that he told him that he'd have it in 3 days. The next day at work, we get a cameo from Latenya himself, Joe Prestia, who plays Pierre. And I was just
Oh
like,
shit.
yeah. I mean, I was wondering if you caught that one.
No, not at all. Because
Yeah.
he must not have had his fucking Mickey Rourke in Sin City
He got the look.
nose.
He got the look in there though. They didn't make it. They put a lot more makeup on him because you could tell there's a lot more close-ups. But yeah, it is very much.
I
His name
guess
is
I
Joe
just wasn't
Prestia.
expecting to see the face of pure evil,
Yeah.
so I wasn't looking for it.
Yeah, exactly. And this is only a couple of years after Irreversible too, which is wild.
Mm.
But that motherfucker was busy, man. And it's fucked up, man. I was like, why did they did him dirty, man? You look at his IMDb page and it's literally the scene from Irreversible. I was like, why would you put that?
That's horrible.
Why would you use that?
Imagine.
Oh my god. So anyway, so Pierre pays a visit to Jean Francois and the two discuss how financially ruined he truly is. While they have their conversation, both Mamet and Sebastian are eavesdropping on opposite ends of the room. And it's pretty funny because John he like he breaks a hole through the ceiling because I think the point was to start on the roofing part of the roofing job, you know what I mean? Like I think he was literally just making room for it, like starting to just, tear down the roof.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, he
it's just so funny though how it happens. Just like boom, and you just like you see his face come through. Like, oh
yeah,
man.
which ends up being his like eavesdropping hole.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, he's just some dipshit they're paying on the cheap because that's what rich people do.
Yeah, yeah. And Jean-Francois he tells Pierre that he doesn't even know how he's gonna pay Sebastian for his work, which is fucked up. Man, as soon as I would have overheard that, I'd be like, all right, well, it's been nice knowing you.
Yeah, yeah, that's why
The fuck?
I was a little confused why he stuck around, but
Well, because I think the young part has a lot to do with it that he was like naive and maybe something's gonna happen with like maybe they'll just pay me or like maybe she'll come into some money or whatever. You know what I mean? I think it's just the naive speaking to his naivete.
hmm.
But shortly after, they began speaking vaguely about some sort of plot to acquire a large sum of money in a single day. Pierre asks, "You'll make that much in one day?" Jean Francois tells him that he doubts he'll get through it, whatever that means. When Pierre says, "But it worked last time," he responds with, "That was last time." Pierre asks when he's leaving, and he says that he doesn't know. But because he was supposed to be summoned, they were supposed to summon him, but it's been a month since he's heard anything. As Pierre exits the house, we see Beetle Man across the street taking photos of him from the aforementioned Beetle. We
Hmm.
watch He watches as the postman delivers mail to the house and photographs Jean-Francois opening the letter he assumes is the one he's been waiting for. According to the voiceover telling someone that they'll send them the photos. So he's talking to someone on the phone. And I think they show the other detective at this point, right?
The detective?
Yeah, 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 the other one.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy, the main guy, you mean, right?
No, 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 the older The one that he talks to in the
The guy with the longer hair who, yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I mean. He's like the main cop.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. At first I was a little confused because of the way the sequencing on
yeah.
whether that guy was a friend or a foe, but then
Hmm.
eventually came to understand, oh, so he is the lead detective. This is what's happening.
Hmm.
But okay, so we're on the same page. I can't
Newsflash,
remember if he
dog.
has
All cops
glasses.
are our foes.
Oh yeah, of course. But I just mean at first I couldn't tell if he was a cop or a criminal
Yeah,
because it
yeah, yeah.
became apparent pretty early on that whatever he was talking about had something to do with crime, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very it's and then that's what I like too about it because in true noir fashion, it really is blurring the lines between the good and the bad guys. It very much is like dirty cops question mark what's going on? You know what I mean? And it's like, "Oh, maybe these are criminals with hearts, who knows?" You know what I mean? It's very
Kind of, but then ultimately it sort of ends up just being
Oh, for
the
sure.
cops are good and the all the
For
criminals
sure,
are
but I'm
bad.
saying like there's a lot of like vagueness that's like left to the imagination right up top. I think like when I was first introduced to the characters, I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
weird, and then they gave in. There's like points where the bad guys were like he's showing heart question mark, you know, and then it was like very blurry lines in between. But it was a I don't know, it was a fascinating way of presenting these characters. I thought.
Mm. Yeah, I think by the end it's really clear, and I'm not sure if
Yeah,
it's ambiguity or if it's the lack of the writing because there's I feel like the central concept was really developed, and then the beginning and the ending, everything around that was a little bit less so,
for
you
sure.
know.
I will give you that. I will say that on a couple of revisits, it's definitely I see the problems with it for sure.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think the way that the subject matter itself was handled was interesting, and like the reveals and stuff kind of happening were I thought it was interesting, like the way that the 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 brothers thing specifically, how that gets revealed.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, that's neat. Like
Yeah,
that was kind of cool.
yeah, I didn't think about it until it happened, you
Mm-hmm,
know.
mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was very that's what I'm saying. So it was like there were parts of it that were handled very interestingly that completely shat the bed for the remake. Like complete I was like, what the fuck was the fucking reasoning behind some of these? Like some of these choices are absolutely atrocious. I'll just say it now. So the music in that movie, there is very light music throughout this movie. Throughout 13 Tzameti, there's very light little jazz that kind of happens. There's like little
Mhm.
needle drops. And then like when the tension is happening, no music whatsoever. Silent as a fucking pin drop. Like you can hear a pin drop in that room. It's so well done because that keeps the tension like at a very much at a maximum. You know what I mean? I think so.
Mhm.
In the fucking remake, the entire film is one long ass Marvel movie score. Now you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. You know how when Marvel movies, when they're first introducing a new character or a returning favorite, let's say fucking Cap or Hulk or whatever, they're reintroducing them back into the film. It's this light whimsical music that kind of plays in the background as like
Mhm.
they're making some fucking joke or whatever the fuck. That music is playing throughout the entire
Mhm.
film. I was like, what the fuck? It's dumb. It's very dumb. And then of course when it goes to Mexico, there's like the what's it, the maracas
Castanets.
and the shit, like yeah, exactly like that. And there's like Spanish guitar in there. I was like, dog,
Mm.
it's it's a lot, man. It's a lot. I had a lot of problems with it, but that was my biggest one.
Well, you know it's a banger when you got Sebastian the Crab in there. You know.
Exactly. It's so stupid. Anyway, we're moving on. But yes, that was my problem with the remake was just that stupid fucking music going on throughout the entire thing. Because I was like, there's no reason for it whatsoever. No reason to add anything to the story, to the emotion of what I'm feeling right now. It just annoys me. It's very
Mm.
stupid. Okay, done. Thank you for letting me vent. I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk.
There you go. Get it all out.
So
Get it all out.
Jean Francois goes to draw himself a nice little bath, complete with a brand new syringe set. And Nemeth sneaks into his room to read the letter for herself. Self care night. So She sees a train ticket and a reservation for a hotel before noticing a pool of water spilling into the bathroom or to the bedroom. She tosses the envelope on a nearby dresser and runs to deal with it. It's next to an open window, by the way.
Hmm. Conveniently.
Very much so. She calls Sebastian to help him again, uh, because she can't get into the bathroom. So she tells him that there's an axe nearby, and he goes to fetch it. As he does, a strong gust of wind blows the letter out of the window onto a pile of wood outside. Sebastian eventually breaks down the door, and they find Jean Francois is lying dead in the tub. As the police are at the scene interviewing people, Sebastian passes by the letter and he opens it. He tucks it away and retrieves the tools before leaving. We hear people mentioning that they knew about the drug use, but that he'd only been doing a small amount at that point, which I think they say is like 3 grams or some
It,
shit. I'm
it's
like, that
it's just
is,
it's just the smallest amount of opium.
yeah, yeah, it's fucking
I
crazy.
I
I
think
was
it's
like,
probably heroin if he has a needle, but opium is just more old
well,
timey,
they're
and
talking about later on that they're on morphine, but either
that's
way,
that's
it's
true.
all fucking.
Oh no, you know what? Yeah, no, you're totally right because if they're doing that, then yeah,
He
he's
was
hooked on.
definitely hooked
But
on it. Yeah.
so that's but morphine is, it is an opiate, it is
Hmm.
heroin,
That's what I'm
so
saying.
like
Yeah.
he's probably just doing heroin at home.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a
Whew.
movie, so
It's
maybe it's
rough.
morphine, but it's a lot easier to get heroin. I mean, not that I know,
So I
but
hear.
I mean, I would gather,
Allegedly.
not
Allegedly.
that I've ever spent time thinking about it, but you take 2 seconds and it kind of seems it would stand to reason. Um,
So good. Oh man, yeah, no, it's very yeah, I agree though, but I do like how it gets pieced together though, like kind of all that, like because even all the heroin stuff, I didn't really piece that in together until the second watch when I was watching. I was like, oh yeah, they're all hopped up in the den. That
mhm.
makes sense that he'd be as well over here because that's what he was,
It's funny because
up
really it
to.
would just make you a lot calmer, but they're all just like sweating and shaking and
They're
freaking out the whole
fucking
time.
yeah, dude.
But it's like if you're getting a fucking big old needle of that every day, you're just like, thank you, man. What you
Yeah, yeah,
want?
yeah, exactly.
Put the gun where? Okay.
Exactly.
Like you truly, I don't think you'd give a
That's
fuck
so
about
good. Yeah.
anything at that point.
100%.
You'd
Yeah.
just be like, I'm swimming in my own body.
So
Allegedly, not that I would
allegedly
know.
again. That's good. So we get a quick scene of his father mean mugging him at dinner later on. And then we see him return to Mehmet to offer his condolences and inquire about the status of his job. She tells him that Jean Francois' sister is going to inherit the house, so she'll most likely go through an agency to sell it instead of repairing it, leaving
And
Sebastian shit out of luck in terms of payment.
yeah, she said she'll never come here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no
She's
one's
like,
gonna come talk to you.
don't worry, you're not. Yeah, exactly. Like, don't waste your time sticking around.
Yeah, so all that for nothing.
Yeah. So she apologizes and he goes to collect the rest of his things. Pierre visits Maman and asks if she knew about an upcoming job that he was expecting a letter about. She tells him that she does and that there wasn't anything to see, just a train ticket and a hotel bill. He offers to buy it off of her and she agrees. He tells her that if it
She
works,
said she was gonna get a refund for it, and he said that.
yeah, 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 yeah. Which I was like, that's interesting when that like send red flags to whoever. I don't know. But anyway, she agrees and tells her that, and he tells her that if it works, he won't forget her. Sebastian overhears this and makes off with the quickness. We see Beetleman, who I put down as Ludo. I don't know if that's actually his name, but from what I can cross reference with photos and all that stuff, what I was able to fucking piece together with my analysis, I believe his name is Ludo.
Yep, I'm sure.
I did not get the other guy's name though, the main detective's name.
Mm.
So we know Ludo and then the detective later on.
Yeah, he's just some
Yeah,
prick.
exactly. So we see the Beetle Man, Ludo, arrive at the house after Pierre is gone, and then we see Mamet speaking to a detective on speaker while he's in the room with her. This is the main detective that I was just talking about. She tells her that the letter is missing, but she remembers the details about where the train was headed and which hotel the reservation was for. Which on the letter it says it was a reservation for an opera, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
Yeah, it said.
I
I
guess that's
was.
just like the name of the hotel or
Yeah, I was just
something.
like, that was just a weird throw. That just threw me off for a second. I was like, "What?
Mm.
Is that how they do it over there?"
On your side of the fucking your side of the tracks. Is that what you folks are into?
Exactly.
Mm.
So Luda
Okay.
look Luda looks around and asks her where she was standing when she overheard the conversation about the job. She tells him in the corridor. He asks her, "You heard what they were saying?" And she says, "Of course." And he looks towards the hole in the ceiling Sebastian had caused during his work. Which is
Hmm.
very, yeah, because he's like, if she heard it out here, there's a damn sure a good chance he heard it up there.
Yeah, all of a sudden they kind of piece it together.
Mm-hmm. So Sebastian gets a haircut because you want to look good when you go to meet Jesus. And he
Mm.
enters the train station in his James Dean best.
I think it's also just his half-assed way of being like, "Oh, look how clever I am.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
find me."
yeah, for sure. I really wanted to put that line in there.
As you should. It was good.
Thank you. So Ludo spots him and reports back to the other detective. Asleep at the hotel, he wakes up to a phone call with instructions leading to a locker room and another train ticket, specifying that he needs to get off one stop before what's on the train ticket. He goes to retrieve the envelope with not only the
Uh,
ticket inside, yeah, which was crucial to what was going to happen next, which was
yes, because there is a part later where the detective does say like, "You should have got off on the right station."
mm-hmm. Yeah, so they specifically were telling him get off a
It's all
stop
coming
before.
together.
Yep. He goes to retrieve the envelope with not only the ticket inside, but a card with the number 13 written on it and some walking around money. I assume it was only, I don't know, it was like a bill or something like that. I have no idea how much that actually translates to, but I was like, it's probably enough for like lunch, you
Little
know?
something to eat out on.
Exactly. So on the train, someone signals to the attendant to check Sebastian's ticket. And once he does, he snitches to the detectives waiting in the other car, excuse me, telling them which stop he's getting off at. They call in units to stand by the platform to apprehend him, but he does as he was told before and he gets off a stop before. He takes a cab to the destination given to him. A few mysterious men are keeping an eye on him, and they give the license plate of the taxi to someone over the phone. Which right here, that was the pretty vague part for me. I was like, are they with the cops or with the criminals? Like,
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure for a little
yeah,
while there because it seemed like they were both.
I think they give it to the cops because that's literally how they know.
It
Like,
seemed like they were both chasing after him,
mm-hmm.
so it was hard to.
Distinguish. Yeah, because it's a lot of like staring. It's a lot of people like staring at people.
Yeah, I
And
thought it
then
was just
like,
everyone who wanted the ticket.
yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, but it is just like all the cops are just crawling all over the place and they're like looking at him. So Sebastian is dropped off in the middle of a cross section and is eventually greeted by a noticeably tall man named Jose in a noticeably small vehicle, holding up a card with the number 13 on it, like the one he has in his pocket.
Hmm.
Jose,
They,
and I'd say that because as a noticeably tall man myself, sitting in that motherfucker, I was like, brother, that is far too small for you, my man.
you're not a little guy, you're a big guy.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm talking the car. The car was fucking tiny as shit. Like he's fucking
No,
massive.
no, that's what I mean to him.
No, yeah, exactly.
Like it's a little car. You're not a little guy, you're a big
Exactly.
guy.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. He's fucking massive. He gotta like duck in the doorways when he's in the room later on. It's crazy, man. So Jose signals for him to get in and they drive off. He takes him to a secluded structure where he's searched and made to strip. The men conducting the search also break the heels of his shoes to check for trackers. After he's cleared, they get back in the car and head to another location. We see the detectives at the same intersection Sebastian was at, speaking with the cab driver who explains what happened. They ask him, "Don't you think it was strange that he asked to be left here?" He responds with, people can stop wherever they like," which I was like, "Yeah, you asshole." Like, get fucked.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I was thinking about that afterwards because I guess it just if he like pulled over there, it'd be too obvious. So he had to like go
Hmm.
down the road and come back, and that's when they slipped him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. But he says that he saw someone driving off. That was all he when he made a U-turn. That's what he said. So he must have been looking in his rear view as he was like turning around. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting. So Sebastian arrives at a fancy compound in the woods where he's led inside. He's meeting people who believe him to be Jean-Francois, but when Alan and Romaine enter the room and see that someone else has taken his place, they figure to hell with it and let him play in his stead. So a man named Mr. Schloendorf enters the room to size up Sebastian. He approves and calls him brave for even playing at all, and then remarks that there are only 13 of us this time. Not many. In Istanbul, there were 42 of us, and the opening bet was 500,000. What is it here? Alan tells him that anything under 100,000 isn't even worth it,
Hmm.
which is fucking crazy when you get to what they're doing. Like, once you know what they're doing, you're just like, God damn. A 42 fucking people match? How many people were there? That's wild. That's fucking crazy, man.
Is that how
So,
many it starts with?
no, in this one, there's only 13.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I
yeah, that's what
thought.
he's saying. Yeah, there's only 13 of them. That's why he's like, there's like, this is a smaller match, as compared to everything. So I'm like, God, okay, this is fucking, these are like the opening tournament matches for him. These are just the fucking opening bills, the other cards. What are they called? The something cards? I forgot what. But yeah, he's not really, he's like, whatever, I've seen bigger.
Hmm.
So when Schloendorf leaves, they begin trying to figure out how Sebastian got there. And he tells them that Jean Francois is dead. And they ask him if he knows what he's there for. He says, I knew that he was waiting on a letter and hoped to earn a lot. I found it and followed the instructions. Alon asks, do you know what this is about? Sebastian says he has no idea. Romaine is suspicious and posits that maybe the cops sent him there. But Alon disputes this, asking would who would agree to do that. He says maybe they didn't tell him, and that would mean that the cops are watching us. It means they'll show up soon, so it's now or never to get out. Alon says it's not a good look if the cops show up and they're gone. It'll look like they snitched, and he says he'd rather be arrested.
Hmm. I do remember that.
Mm-hmm. Which is fair. That's a fair. It's not a good look for sure.
No, it
Damn
is
sure.
not.
Sebastian says that he can leave if it doesn't suit him, but they tell him he can't. He has to play now, whatever the fuck that means. Just that's what if I hear that, I'd be like, hell no, hell motherfucking no,
Yeah, he has no idea what he's signed himself up for here.
nope. So downstairs, we see a room full of bookies taking bets. As 13 men, including Sebastian, are standing in the room next to it, wearing t shirts with their numbers taped onto them. They're each handed a pistol, which they inspect, and we see a look of dread watch over Sebastian's face. A man sits in a high chair like the ones you see at public pools and
That's
yells
exactly
out
what I thought.
and yells out
Or a
instructions.
tennis match.
Yeah.
Realistically,
Tennis match,
they're
yeah.
all European, so I feel like
Yeah.
that's probably where it's from.
Yeah, that's so funny, a tennis match, yeah. So he's our MC for the festivities, as I will refer to him further in the notes as such. So each man is handed a single bullet, and we hear Mr. Schloendorf hyping up his sacrificial lamb.
Hmm.
Man is only born once, and he only dies once. Nothing else happens.
He said, "My man Little Wayne said that." Ah.
So he says, be philosophical. You're a descendant of Schopenhauer. Now we're gonna take our Schopenhauer little side quest.
Yeah, now you
I was like,
get to explain all this. You were telling me before, and I was like, "This is a you're gonna have to say this twice." So let's just start the show.
yes. It's so I just had never heard. I was like, okay, he's got to be a philosopher, which he is. He's a German philosopher, and I was just like, who? Like, I was like. more curious about how the context of that mattered within
Hmm.
like why he was telling him that. So I just checked it out and I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm probably gonna fuck this up. I am not a philosophy major by any fucking
I
stretch of the
believe in
imagination.
you. I believe in
But
you.
from what I have gathered, these are the notes that I've taken on this man and his ideals and stuff and how this kind of relates to the movie. So he was born in 1788. He died in 1860. He influenced a ton of people in various fields, including Einstein and Nietzsche. Dubbed the philosopher of pessimism for his worldview that challenges the value of existence itself. So from what I gather, this is again very big asterisk on this motherfucker, but from what I gather, he believed that we're living in a physical world that was manifested by an invisible force or a metaphysical will, sort of like seeing reality through our own personal filters, aka what it's also known as in Indian philosophy as the veils of Maya, which isn't just an incredible 2000s what 5 6 prog rock band, prog metal band.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It kind of just sounds like this. It sort of just sounds like the idea of a creator, of
Yeah,
creation.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
It's
like
yeah, but it's sort of like taking more of like a ownership stance over it. More as like you're responsible for what happens in your own life, type of shit. You know what I mean? From what I am gathering here. But that was in a book that he wrote, and I forgot what the fuck. It's like the man something. I forgot the name of his book was that he was very famous for publishing. Let me see if only I can look this up real quick. Schopenhauer. Yes, he was famous for a book called The World as Will and Representation. And yeah, so that's kind of like that title alone kind of gives you a lot of, the idea of his work as well. It's about willpower. It's about like what we've willed into existence and stuff like that. He kind of believes that that's um more that there's more credence in giving power to the idea of, yeah, you are your own kind of master, you are your own, you're responsible for your own future as opposed to like things outside influences happening at you. Um but there's also a lot of ideas in there about how feelings of loneliness and boredom aren't necessarily bad. That's where he kind of got his, I mean, obviously we talk a lot about German philosophers having this idea, this stance on like sad boy type shit. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm.
but he's challenged the ideas of like loneliness and boredom being like bad things necessarily. He thinks that they give you time to reflect on the root of your suffering and therefore make time to like give you time to adjust to improve your mental health. And there's the biggest one that I parsed out from here was that it looks like he talks about the will to life being this primary driving force within each of us to cling to existence and always look out for our own personal interests, which
Hmm.
is kind of what's exampled in Sebastian's characters, now that I look back on it, because he has
Well,
this like driving force to keep going.
it's interesting. I feel like it's really just in terms of like I feel like it's derogatory. I don't think that guy like is like a big Schopenhauer fan. I think
Mm-hmm.
basically he's just saying like you're here to like strive for existence so hard that it happens. So like just try to survive is like ultimately what he's saying. Like
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
believe that the gun's not gonna fire because that's the only thing
Oh
that's
yeah,
gonna
like
gonna get you.
willing that kind of to happen. Yeah, yeah, sort of like
Yeah.
willing. Oh, okay. Then we tied it back around, baby. That's teamwork.
Yeah, because I mean, I saw a lot of people online saying that this movie is like very, very nihilistic, and
Mm-hmm.
I reject that. As like I fancy myself a nihilist, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, I'm having a hard time. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Just like I'm having a hard time agreeing with the nihilism aspect.
Yeah,
even after seeing the ending. Like,
for me, nihilism is a step beyond atheism, and that's like I
mhm.
just wanted to be very clear where I am. That it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
no, I don't believe in anything.
Hmm.
Like there are things that are either true or are not, and I
Yeah,
guess at a certain point, I do have to like believe what scientists tell me, but it's not the same thing of just, you know what I mean? Like
100%.
if
As like
science
free
turns
will.
around,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and says, "Oh, we're wrong about this thing." I'm just like, "Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. I wonder why." Like I don't have to
Mhm.
know it to understand that like
Yeah.
chemistry is a thing.
Yeah, 100
You
percent.
know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
But
to where you're like, I'll question things if I don't have the answers in front of me, but if the answers have been, cycled through a lot of different filters, and we've gotten reached a lot of different a lot of the same opinions by different ways, you know what I mean, or whatever, you're willing to take
yeah.
that as fact because it's been, fact checked essentially along the way.
Yeah, and to me nihilism is just simply, that like nothing really matters, so I'm just gonna do what feels right to me. And it happens to be that what feels right to me personally is like you know, giving homeless people a couple bucks when I can, and
Yep.
standing up for people in public when I see other people being aggressive or mean or unfair. And I'm just lucky that that's where my moral compass landed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
ultimately it's like I'm here for whatever time I am. Why am I going to make somebody else's experience negative when
Hmm.
that's like all that we ultimately have? That's to
Yeah.
me what my version of nihilism is. And I can see someone saying nothing matters, so why don't I just do bad things? And I understand that there's that flip of
Which
the coin.
Yeah, which I kind of think is that's what he was almost teetering on, which is those are almost the ideas that he was like teetering on, which is like, yeah, like life is ultimately meaningless.
It just
So we're
doesn't feel like it even gets that far. It feels like it's just these are sick rich people and this is a game they get off on.
Oh no, no, yeah, I mean
You
in
know what I
terms of
mean?
what Schopenhauer's philosophies are though. I mean in terms
Oh,
of, yeah, yeah.
oh, oh,
I
okay,
feel like
okay.
that's what his what he was sort of getting at, almost getting at, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it seems like he's more of the just what you will it, and like as a guy who works in sales, I hate that shit, because that's what we get is like it's like when they're making fun of the Saratoga water morning routine guy. I can't
yeah.
think of his name because I didn't know it before, you know what I'm
No,
talking about?
no.
It's this video of this guy who's like, "This is my morning routine. I get up at 3:30 in the morning and I just fuck off until 6 a.m. But like,
Yeah,
I'm so much more."
yeah, okay, I
It's
have
a
seen something like that. Yeah, for
there's a
sure.
part where he's like doing a business talk and he's like 10,000. We gotta do 20,000, bro. And it's just like that's more number,
Yeah, more number
you know?
equals more gooder.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so funny.
but yeah, it's just a bunch of dickheads like him just being like, fuck it, let's just this is fun to us because nothing holds meaning.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And I feel like when we start
But
talking about like true nihilism shit. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, like, cut you
no,
off. Go
no,
ahead.
no, I didn't. But just in terms of like nothing holds meaning because I'm so rich that I'm so bored, as opposed to nothing holds meaning because I've come to this like heightened philosophical
Yeah,
realization. So
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
it doesn't feel nihilistic. It feels like capitalism is dog shit istic. You
Yeah,
know what I
because it
mean?
led them to making those decisions in the first place.
Yeah,
Like it
it's
was
kind of
literally based off
it's
capitalism.
they're just so rich that they're just like we just need something fun to do that only
Mhm.
we can do, and
Yeah,
like betting millions of dollars on guys' lives is like just kind of
that's what we do to fill the time. That's
yeah.
how we kill a Tuesday.
I suppose it's nihilistic in terms of like you know, there's like the point is like once you get this rich, you just lose touch
All
with
morality.
humanity and you
Yeah,
start doing stuff like this. But then also when you're poor and desperate enough, you're willing to do
go to these
anything.
lengths.
So it's like the same, but I don't think it's even that deep. I think it was just what's a good excuse to have these scenes happen? Okay, it's a
Mhm.
bunch of rich guys betting on this.
Yeah, fair. I feel like what like I don't know why I'm gonna bring this up right now, but I am. But I feel like when we start approaching the real topics of like actual nihilistic movies, we talk about movies like Martyrs, or we talk about movies like Solo, even like eventually, which I know eventually we're gonna do on on this podcast. Like we're just gonna eventually doing Solo.
Well, you gave it to me for that
Yeah,
purpose.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So, but you'll see what I mean when you watch that movie. Is like true nihilism. I think in those movies are what's being explored, whereas this one has that tinge of nihilism. But even then, it's kind of like a pretty good ending at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like at least good for someone. You know?
Somebody profited.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, like literally. That's what happens. But
I,
it's I don't know. I
I,
just felt like tying the philosophical little pulling us in the station for that one was interesting.
yeah. I was gonna say something else, but I'll wait until it's more
You're yeah
less getting ahead of
yeah.
myself-y.
Fair enough. All right, now back to the movie. The MC announces that the first round is about to begin, and a light bulb painted with vertical black lines turns on, which is very, very fucking cool because this is exactly the source of tension for the entire film going forward. Was just one light bulb painted with black strips going down the sides of it, and that is specifically made. Which this is just me gathering from what I am just as a viewer. I I think it was specifically done for the camera to see the rotation and to make the rotation kind of like
Mm,
more focused and like that because you could see it focuses on the light bulb and you see the background is turning too. But I feel like when you actually see the lines on the light bulb spinning, it makes more I don't know, makes it more intense. You know what I mean? Because you're like, oh shit, it is like because the camera spins this way, kind of counterclockwise, and then like it'll spin clockwise, looking at the audience and their reactions and
mm.
stuff. So it's very disorienting and very like, what the fuck is gonna happen? It's very one of those very tense, you know?
Yeah, and then it also just gives them something to put on the box. Because
Yeah, fair
that's
enough.
the other
Other
poster is
image
like
on the
just
yep,
the
the
light
light
bulb.
bulb. Yep. I love it though. It looks freaking awesome. So the men are told to load their guns, but Sebastian can't seem to figure it out. So Jose steps in quickly to help teach
Mhm.
him.
Yeah, and it really highlights like there's no skill. These are all just different people that are desperate or
Yeah, everyone is fucking like just shitting bricks at this point. Like when they're looking at each other, just fucking dripping sweat. We got one bigger homeboy who just like can't even really stand up. He's like sweating.
Mhm.
It's so sad, dude. It's just so you're just like, oh shit, this is what's happening. Like that's what I'm saying. When I first watched this and had no clue about it going in, this when this scene hit, I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like that's fucking wild, bro. So
I
I'm
gotta
pretty
say,
locked in.
I gotta say, well, we haven't quite gotten to what they're doing with them yet.
Yeah, that's fair. But
So
yeah.
give us
Fair.
that, and
I'll
then
go.
I'll say
Yeah.
what I'm gonna say.
So the group is told to raise their weapons and spin the cylinder until told to stop.
And they all just,
They all just start, yep, racking that shit.
which I
But
think is bad for the gun.
I don't know, maybe they're not gonna need them very, very long. So they're they're told to take aim, and all of them point their guns at the head of the man to their right. They cock back the hammer and are told to shoot as soon as the light comes on. Everyone, including the camera, stares intently, waiting to pull the trigger. After a grueling few seconds, the light comes on, and we see several men go down. But Sebastian can't seem to find it in him to shoot. So a random goon comes in and holds up a gun to his head. The MC tells Alan that if his player doesn't shoot, they'll kill him, and Alan will be responsible for a fine. So him and Romain urge Sebastian to fire. When he finally does, the gun clicks, and his opponent breathes a sigh of relief before pushing the gun away and yelling at him. I'd be
Yeah.
fucking pissed too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you
that's
piece
yeah.
of shit.
Yeah, that's fucked up. The agreement is we all pull the trigger
At
and
the same
and
time.
and it's over at that point, one way or another.
Ugh, that was
Yeah,
fucked, dude.
that's fucked up to make it, yeah, go on longer.
Yeah, so it was very palpable in this scene. You're just like, yeah, homeboy was just like, yo, get this shit over with and get me out of here or fucking kill me, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really sad, but it was a great fucking again, because you have the tension of that scene already happening, and then you have the tension of this fucking thing happening right after that. I was like, oh shit. Like, it's really well done.
I have to say this strikes me, and I think this might be the difference because when did you see this movie first?
This was a couple of years, probably like 2020.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought maybe it was something you saw like a lot earlier.
No, no.
Um, yeah, it just strikes me as like the most boring battle royale ever. It's like they're like, we've got all these guys, we've gathered them all up. Ooh, this is gonna be exciting. Just have them
It
all
does,
put a gun to
yeah,
each other's
yeah, it
head.
does remind me of Battle Royale now that you're saying that. That's so funny.
It's yeah, I
That's so
was,
funny.
and I think you mentioned that in the remake they go into more people's backstories. I think that actually would have been a good thing for this
See,
because
you think that, but then you
it's
get it, and I'm telling you, it doesn't work, man.
well, with a more
With a
capable
more capable
writer,
writer, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I think ultimately that's like a because as soon as this started happening, I was just like, oh, he's just gonna survive every single one of these, you know, and like even though that's sort of a foregone conclusion in a lot of things.
Hmm.
It's just like a series of coin flips, and you already know he's gonna win the coin flip. So it's not as like complex as like, okay, how's he gonna like survive this crazy situation? It was just like, oh yeah, he's just gonna be fine. We're just gonna keep doing this.
Yeah, but I feel like it really was like just the shock of that playing out to me, just alone, that concept works. You know what I mean? I was like that just playing out to it. Obviously, like you're saying, like the logical conclusion is that he survives all of this. He's gonna obviously get out of there. It's just kind of like how, you know,
It,
like I'm like, all right, like what do we? Because at some
yeah.
point in the movie, they're we're gonna go to soon right now, but he's gonna try and make a break for it, and I think that would have been interesting to see too.
I think it just ultimately like we don't ever go too much like no one is really characterized very much.
Yeah, and
So
that's
it
what
just
I'm saying.
all
I like whereas he overdid it, he overcorrected in the sequel or in the reboot. Like I'm literally telling like he gave the number six in here. He gave him a motive. He gave uh he gave Sebastian more of a motive by having a dying father, whereas not like his father is fine as just in the bed and looking at him like he's a piece of shit in this one. And then they even give motive to another one of the to Alan, the guy who played Jason Statham plays who in here, who's the guy coaching him and everything. They like gave motive to everyone
oi,
else, and I
Gov,
think
you need to
yeah.
pull that trigger.
That's so stupid.
Oi, yeah, that's some
Like,
good trigger pulling there. Let's train for
so
8 months. You
stupid.
don't need to learn to aim it just to
Yeah,
pull the trigger.
so stupid.
It's kind of like Jason Statham and Michael Caine. That's what I'm
Yeah, yeah,
having.
yeah, exactly. It's
You
both
know,
of them.
to do a Michael Caine impression, all you have to do is in a British accent say my cocaine.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say
I'm
To do Michael Caine, you need to ask first.
I'm my cocaine.
All right. So can we get back to the movie now?
We can.
So a cleaning crew quickly steps in with body bags in hand and clears the floor for the next round as the players retire to a room to take a breather and a hit of morphine. As it turns out, they're all hopped up on massive doses because obviously
Mm-hmm.
I
Something to
am
take the edge off, you know what I'm
fuck
saying?
you if I'm dying sober. Fuck you.
Oh boy. Hey,
Absolutely.
if I'm not living sober, why am I gonna
Ex-
die sober?
exactly.
Put that on my tombstone.
Exactly. 100%. Oh my
Game
god.
recognized game.
Exactly. So, the men who lost their players in the first match desperately ask around a bet on any other contestants. And it's so funny because no one is taking their bets because they believe that later on we'll see that they're bad luck.
It's so weird though because it's just like it's this weird portrayal of gambling that is like not how gambling works whatsoever. Because they come up and they're like, I want to bet on your guy. Do I have permission to bet on your guy? And then they're like, yeah, but only if you give me 80% of what you
Hmm.
make. And I'm just like,
Hmm.
this is not how gambling works. Like,
But it does
what?
in this world.
It's just was so strange. There's just like constant begging and like cutting deals. And I'm just
There's
like,
like a different it's like a different system though because even then like there is a scene where they're asking later on where he's like don't you run this organization? He's like that has nothing to do with what happens either. Like I have no power over what happens even if that's the case. Which I was like that's fascinating actually. I don't know, that's kind of interesting. It wasn't that it was so much like I knew obviously like with the gambling stuff I was like it's very strange the way that they're going about it, but maybe it's a different system that they're using, you know what I mean? Like
mm,
I don't know. I
yeah,
couldn't tell you.
yeah. I've just
I don't
never.
do crimes.
I've just. Hey, trust me. I've seen Rounders. Okay, and I. Do you know what that movie is?
No.
It's Ed Norton and I think
Oh
Matt
yeah, yeah,
Matt
yeah, yeah,
Damon
yeah,
playing
yeah.
poker.
Wow, even you saying that just unlocked a fucking memory. That's
It's a
weird, bro. That's crazy.
it's a very good movie. It's a very good movie. But my point is, I watched that. Okay, I know what a vig is, but
Exactly.
th I've never seen this where they're like, I want to bet on your guy, take 80% of my cut to make it
Hmm.
right. Like, what the
Hmm.
fuck?
Yeah, it's the equivalent of saying like, I know stocks. I saw Boiler Room.
Oh boy. Watch The Big Short. That's a good movie.
Exactly. There you go. Now we're just naming off movies that you can learn crimes from.
Yeah, yeah. The Big Short is like literally in finance. They like tell you to watch that movie, and then
Yeah,
if
yeah, yeah.
once you like know a little bit and you watch it, you're like, oh, holy shit! Like you, because the first time you watch that movie, you're just like, money, sure,
Money? Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
always be gooning. Anyway,
So stupid. Number six is especially opposed to taking a bet. I guess someone's trying to yeah, bet on him or something. I'm not exactly sure, but one of the guys who lost one of his players is talking to number six and he like scares him off by giving him a little flinch action.
hmm
So someone approaches Alan about betting on Sebastian and tells him that he'll only take it if he has a 50% take of the cut of the earnings. So he takes the deal and also bets on number 10, which I was like, wow, because I think number 10 was the guy standing behind him in the next round. I think that's why that has a little more significance, but I was just like, why did they show that?
Oh, okay, maybe
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah, I was trying to understand that anyway. So Sebastian sees an opportunity to run and tries to escape, but he's cornered by a few goons, and Jose tells him that he can't get away from here. Which, yeah, he runs down that stairwell, and he's just like, I was like, "What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing?" Out the window, something else. We could have done something else, man. But you are fucking you are just trying to walk straight out the front door. It's very stupid.
This flat-footed fuck.
Yeah, exactly. So round two begins with the men loading not only one, but two rounds into their guns and spinning the cylinders until told to stop. They take aim and wait for the bulb to light up, with some with terror on their faces and others without expression at all. Sebastian glances over his shoulder at the man behind him and he tells him not to look him in the eyes. The MC gives the signal, the switch is flipped, and a few more bodies collapse. A goon inspects the gun of the man standing behind Sebastian, and it's revealed that he didn't have the time to pull the trigger, but the bullet was in the barrel.
Yeah, he didn't react fast enough.
Yep, exactly. So that was like I was like, oh, that was a nice touch in here. I want to say that was a really nice touch to add in here because of like that was like, yeah, how are you gonna make this interesting for the rest of this duration of the match? That was a pretty. I was like, fuck, a close call like that. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I will give you that there's, different things going on between rounds, so they at least
Hmm.
did something there. Then I keep getting ahead of myself.
You're good. You're good. You're good. So everyone retires to the morphine room, and the cleanup crew gets to work. More bets are placed in the remaining lot, but the man who approached number six earlier makes an offer to the head of the organization for 2 million. He says, "I'm here to gamble. It's in your interest." A goon leans over and tells him, "We don't force anyone into this shit." And
A
I
what?
laughed. A goon.
A who?
A goon.
Oh,
He did. He tips over the briefcases on the table before leaving. That shit was just hilarious to me. We don't force anyone into this shit because it's literally they're about to eat their own fucking words right now.
oh yeah, big time.
It's so funny.
It's just
So,
once the game is started, now you're implicated.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which fair, I guess. Yeah, but it's still like hilarious to show the contrast between the two things, like what they
Yeah,
say and what they do.
true.
So in the waiting room, number 11, Mr. Schlowendorf's player is expressing exhaustion and he wants to quit, but he just keeps getting the hype up routine over and over. We see the man who asked to bet on Sebastian having a drink and telling Alan and Romaine, "I did well to bet on your player." And when they ask if he's staying with them this round, he says, "No, I'm betting on the brothers." It's here that we realize that number six and his handler are related. They sit in the corner, and Six tells his brother that he'll have to find a ride home if he doesn't make it today. Then he looks over at Sebastian, crumbles up a piece of paper, and throws it at him, exclaiming, "I hate that number." He gives Sebastian a little finger gun, and we roll into the third round.
It was such a weird fucking bully
Yeah.
thing, you know?
It is like right here. They're just like, "Oh shit, that's right. We need a heal for the movie. We need a heal. Like, let's throw in
Yeah,
one."
there needs to be some human element here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's him. That's who Mickey Rourke is playing in the movie, and so it's him that they were like, oh yeah, he was in a Mexican prison and was forced into this, and he has a son or some. I was like, what the fuck is what? It was very dumb. And then you have the racist ass music playing in the background. I was like, come on, man.
Hey, it might be racist, but a nice flamenco is hard to beat.
For sure, yeah, but don't put it in when you're specifically talking about the Mexican prison. That's very
Mexican
stupid.
prison. It's all just one big fiesta, Holmes.
So fucking stupid. Anyway, and he speaks Spanish at one point. I was like, what the fuck? Oh man, Mickey Rourke, you were a strange motherfucker, man. But not before number 11 throws a tantrum and he begs not to continue. But then several goons hold him down and dose him with a large amount of morphine to sedate him enough to prop him up in the ring. They don't,
Yeah.
but they don't force anyone into the shit, okay?
Yeah. I guess it's just once the game is started, there's so much money tied up that they're just like,
Yeah,
nope,
they're just
now
like,
it's,
you ain't leaving. You ain't going nowhere. That's 3 minutes of playtime.
yeah, my husband did make it for me.
So, as the men are handed their weapons, number six taps on Sebastian's head and mockingly says, "I'm gonna get you." When Sebastian shoves him off, Six slaps the piss out of him and knocks him to the ground.
Mm.
When he stood up again, each player is given 3 bullets to load in the cylinder. And number three is a heavier set boy, and he's been having trouble standing up this entire time. His handler pleads with the MC, and they give him a chair to sit in this round. Which I was like,
ADA
yeah,
compliance.
I was gonna say that, and I was like, that's the moment that I was talking about. I was like, are they showing heart? What the fuck is the, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, what's? It was just a weird thing to throw in there. It's just like, okay,
I'm not making fun of his weight. This is just a funny thing to imagine.
mm-hmm,
But if this was a more traditional battle royale,
mm-hmm,
would they give him a rascal?
no.
Is that fucked up? That's just
If
I'm
it would
just
be in
being
the
silly.
American remake, yes. If it was the American remake, absolutely,
Just a bunch of Paul Blarts out there chasing each
exactly,
other around on
yeah, exactly.
segways.
So tough. So the match commences, and two men fall, leaving four alive, including number one, three, six, and Sebastian being 13. So since they've reached the final round, the last match will be a duel between two random players. They draw pool balls to see which contestants will move forward. Number 6 and 13 are the unlucky winners.
Got them wrapped up in foil like a nice, fully loaded. You know what I'm saying?
That's tough.
I'm
So
hungry.
slow. Yeah, I know. We'll get you out of here soon.
No, I'm just playing,
So
but
Schlendorf approaches Alan about betting on Sebastian, which he's told he will only receive 20% of the earnings, to which he agrees. And number 6 and his brother have a conversation to the side. 6 discloses that he fell because of his brother and wants his cut of the money before upfront before moving on, which I didn't understand. I was like, what difference is it going to make that you have the money? Because it's not just him. It's two other people are also asking for their cut up front before they move forward. And I'm like, what good is it going to do if you're dead?
mm,
It's very strange. I don't know. I don't understand.
I guess just in case they do die, at least they have the psychological feeling of
Like
holding
I'm
the
holding on
money.
to it, I guess. I
At least I
guess.
get to
Yeah.
hold the money.
Yeah. So the players are handed their weapons and three bullets are loaded up. The stage is set and they take aim. The light switches on, and both hammers fall on empty chambers. So the match continues, only this time they add another bullet to the mix, which was fucked. I was like, ooh, that's a good. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, we're up in the stakes. This is good.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Yeah. So once again, they step forward and spin the cylinders until told to stop. The light switches on, and number 6 gets a bullet to the dome. It's interesting how he has a look of sadness on his face and a tear in his eye, almost like he's resigning to his fate at the last minute. Like
Mm.
right before they pull it, he's just like you see him like his eyes are watery. I was like, oh shit, that's interesting. That's a neat little like thing to add in there at the end.
He got scared.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because he was talking all this big shit because apparently he's been, fucking. I'm like, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get
Mhm.
you. And he's just like, fuck, man. I don't know if I'm gonna get you.
He's like, maybe I shouldn't have antagonized one guy.
Yeah, exactly. So Alan Romain, the head of the organization, congratulates Sebastian and tell him to collect his money. When he does, the men counting it tell him that he's a lucky man because his opponent had already won three prior duels, which is fucking crazy, dog. When you think about the fucking like your luck's gonna run out, dog. Fuck are you thinking about? Like
Yeah,
very
statistically
stupid.
statistically speaking,
Literally.
you get through one, you should just be done.
Just be done. That's it. Call it. You're
But
good.
they all seem to be it's probably a combination of the heroin and
Oh yeah.
the money, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So when they hand him the bag, Jose is standing over him and he tells him to give them a wad of cash. Then as he walks him out, he
Which I
asks
would
him,
not have.
yeah, I was
For
like,
the
what the fuck are you
record,
tipping them for?
I
What
was
the
like,
fuck?
fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. And when he's walking out, he asks him, what about me? Are you going to give me anything? And so he tosses a band on the table in front of him and walks away.
Bands a make a
Like,
dance,
I
and then
was
he
like,
walks
hell yeah.
off.
I was like, hell yeah, bitch.
I hope in the remake, bands that make her dance
That started
start.
playing.
Yeah, bands that make her dance, bands that make her dance.
So
Just
stupid.
fucking,
So dumb.
and that's when it goes into the big
Oh my
dance
god.
number.
Yeah, 50 Cent wasn't making a music video appearance in the middle of that or some shit. It was very, very stupid, dude. I was
Wait,
like,
is
what is
that
this
why
guy?
he's in it?
He's in it. No, he's in it. He's playing. So he's in it for some reason. They changed the role of number six's brother. So there are a brother duo in there, but 50 Cent is supposed to be playing the character whose counterpart is Mickey Rourke. So they're supposed to be brothers in that. They're not
Mm.
brothers in this movie. He's just the guy who's his handler. And I was like, why did you do that? That's just
Babluani was like, "Oh, brothers means a different thing in America."
fuck. That was good.
I don't know if you've seen the comedian. He's like German or something, and he talks about how the every time the colloquial version of the word
Yeah,
is
yeah.
used, it says friends. So he's like, I was confused. I thought that's what that word meant.
That's so fucking funny. So Alan and Romaine ask if he needs a ride. So he accepts and he tells them that he just needs to change and he'll meet them outside. He takes this opportunity to escape with his things and makes his way through the woods on foot. As he's hiding, he sees Schlodendorf taking a piss behind his car and he notices that the license plate reads GR1313, which is, I don't know how that like plays into it, but he was like,
Yeah.
because he was like also he before he leaves and he's saying his buys and everything. He says, I like, it was weird that you let me bet on you because I'm an unlucky man right now. And then like he walks off, and then you see the license plate after this. I was like, does that have something to do with this?
So I mean, I guess he's unlucky because he's the one who ends up, having
Oh, true.
his.
That's a good. You're completely right. You're completely right. He absolutely is the unlucky one in the end. Oh shit. Okay, you tied this back together. Fuck, you made me like it even more. That's
No, that's
good.
not what I was trying to
Oh, no,
do. No, I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
exactly. No, that's a
I'm just
really
kidding.
good tie-in though. Because I didn't understand why they were adding that. You know what I mean? Like I was like, other than to get to the ending and where we get to, but I'm just saying, like, why are we focused so much on this? And then his bit of dialogue. I will say, I think the dialogue is very clever on a second rewatch. I think that's really what adds to this. It's like very, very fucking clever dialogue. If anything, if
Mm.
he doesn't know how to write plot, he knows how the fuck to write a good conversation.
Boy, I'm just a
So-
beekeeper. I'm sorry. I
I
just have
love
to
it.
make fun of Jason Statham.
I love it. So at the post office, Sebastian puts most of his money into a parcel and ships it to the family. He calls his brother to let him know that he sent the package and that he'll let him know what it's all about when he sees him soon. That it was just safer sending the money than carrying it on him. His brother's confused and he tells him not to worry, that everything is okay and that he's just calling him in case anything happens. Someone notices Sebastian at the station and tells the cops, who take him in. But before they can, he swallows the receipt that he had for the parcel.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking scarfs it down, man.
So much paper
Yeah,
that
so,
he swallowed.
I was like, dude,
So
that shit was like thick cardstock, bro. That's wild.
yeah, that's gnarly, dude.
So he's taken to a station and debriefed on what they know about the criminal organization. The detective accuses him of taking place in whatever activities were going on, but he denies it and tells him that he never even made it to the event. He says that the men didn't deem him suitable to take Jean Francois's place. When the detective calls bullshit, Sebastian tells him that he ran as soon as someone pulled a gun.
Yeah, he said, "Did you think they were gonna just let me live?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's convincing. I'll say he's a really good job of this one. I was like, you did a really good job tying that story together, motherfucker. That was really good. He had a little time to think. That was good. So he says that he ran so much that he broke his heels. Add points for adding in the thing, and he goes to show him.
Yeah, he was limping before that, and I couldn't understand. I was like, "Did he always have that?" And then he
No,
said
it's just
that,
because
and
of
I
the fucking seat.
remembered.
Yeah, I was like, oof, that's fucked up, bro.
Mm.
So the detective isn't convinced, saying you're lying. When I look at you, I smell the stink of blood, which was a hard ass. I was like, that's a hard fucking line, bro. I was like, that's a fucking metal call out if I ever saw
When
one.
I look at you, I smell the stink of blood.
Just so he
Fucking
tells him
job for a cowboy.
exactly, yeah. That's so funny. So he tells Sebastian that he had a plan to arrest the men waiting for him when he got off this train, but now he's lost his only lead.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like way earlier, he said like, "Why didn't you get off at the station you were supposed
Mm-hmm.
to?
Mm-hmm.
Why cop them?"
Yeah, yeah,
That
exactly. But even then,
sounds.
they still had someone at the stop that he had gotten off beforehand to be able to catch the taxi license plate. So it
Hmm.
was like, so they weren't completely incompetent. I just don't know how the fuck they didn't like they were right on his ass. It's kind of wild how much they didn't like catch, or like how they didn't catch him because of all of the shit that they were like right in front of. It was
Oh
wild.
yeah.
So Sebastian decides to give up Schlondorf instead and offers the detective the license plate he saw in the woods. Finally, back at the train station and headed home, we see number six's brother standing on the train, following Sebastian. He silently confronts him by sitting in the only seat across from him. Mean mugging. Train comes to a stop. The man stands up and pulls out a gun, firing into Sebastian's chest 3 times before grabbing his bag and fleeing the scene. We see Sebastian lying dead in his seat as the train moves along before we roll the credits, and that's 13 Tzameti.
13 Zuvembi.
Zuvembi. That's a good callback.
Oh yeah, I
That's a
figured
good one.
I
That's a
figured
good
I'd
one.
explain that at some point.
Yeah, man, and that's 13 Tzameti. I mean, yeah, you get a I think a very stereotypical French ending with the
A
man sitting
very
against the
yeah,
train. Yeah.
a very just like I don't know how to end it, so let's just end it like bleak because that's like artistic. It was just like yeah, and it was kind of unclear whether they were just gonna kill him anyway or if
Which is why I think he jetted,
yeah,
in like
but he knew because they said the other guy had won 3 times already, and
mhm,
Jean-Francois had obviously made it at least to the second to last round
yeah,
where they
yeah, because it worked
choose
last
who's gonna
time.
duel because
Hmm.
he survives, right?
Hmm.
So presumably you make it that far, you get at least some sort of like cash prize or something.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so. Even because yeah, they tell the other ones they're like, yeah, go collect your money and come back or something like that. Yeah, they're literally talking to the other guys who weren't selected for the duel.
yeah. Um, Yeah, I think they just didn't know how to end it and we're just like what's like an artsy way to end it. Oh, everybody we care about dies is like the an artistic way, you know, like he sacrificed himself but
I feel
his
like that
family
was
gets this money, but you know, he is supporting his family, but it didn't
But I feel
seem
like
like
that was a common trope in the 2000s, in the like early 2000s to like end the movies like that. You know what
oh,
I mean? Like,
big
you
time.
know what I
That's what I
mean?
mean. Is like they were that was the thought was like
Hmm. Hmm.
that's how you end an artsy movie,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
people started to be like, no. But then there's also like you know, fate worse than death, and
Hmm. Hmm.
you know some things work out and some things don't, and other things with more nuance. Because just going, yeah, they die at the end. You know, it can
Yeah,
work well. It's a trope. It's all about how you use it, but it was very
sure,
overused
sure, sure.
around that
Especially
time.
2005, you were already well into the decade and are well into that like era of like that type of film. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Where like that you're right. Like there were tropes for that reason. And then I think where he earns points in my book is using the tropes in a manner in this like specific style. Like stylistically, I love the way that this movie is presented. Because again, it is just a noir film. It's just a noir movie just presented in this like dark light, essentially, like where a noir film probably wouldn't be surrounded, it wouldn't be based off of a, underground suicide ring, but there's
It would
probably things that would be kind of in that same realm, like trafficking or some shit, you know what
it's
I mean?
it's kind of like how we talked about how like Idle Hands is like a comedy that's just like dressed like a horror film. Like it's not
Yeah, yeah,
really
yeah, yeah, yeah.
scary at all.
No.
It's really funny. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really
Mm-hmm.
like more, you know, about using the ideas of this thing to, you know, create this other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this movie it's kind of similar where it's like it is like a thriller, almost horror movie, but they pretend it's a noir movie. It's not really a noir movie because a noir movie would be more about like someone investigating this farmhouse afterwards and figuring out what happened and working
Mm-hmm.
it backwards and doing all of that stuff. Whereas this movie is sort of like, oh, there's like this mystery here, and he's gonna, oh, okay, they explained it, and now we're just doing
The movie, yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
that thing is.
I feel like they
Uh,
also gave him the James Dean treatment though, like straight up, like you know what I mean, like kind of making him like an anti-hero, you know, and like in the cool boy and stuff, and they just like make him out to be really heroic towards the end.
I don't think I got that. I just thought he was some fucking loser the whole time.
Well, it's because
That was
he's
like,
doing it's because his reasons for doing it are pure. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like that's what
He
I
wants to
mean is like
provide for his poor family.
that's what I mean. Like I feel like that's where the angle is where they're making him out to be some sort of anti-hero for doing this thing. Which I mean
I
he just committed murders. So,
I
you know what
guess
I
so.
mean?
He just seems more like he just thought he was smarter than he was, and everything's like more fucked up than he thought, and
Yeah,
he's like a more of a victim. He's just like so
sure.
powerless in all of it. It's I didn't really get the vibe that he was like supposed to really be cool at all. Like at first he just seemed like some dipshit, and then
I just
as it
mean
got on, it was confirmed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I just thinking like when he shows up at the train station and he's wearing that James Dean ass fucking getup, like that straight up just looked like James Dean with the fucking pop collar, his fucking hands in the
Mm.
pockets and everything. I was like, oh, okay, like that. So that's kind of what I had in my mind the whole rest of the way. But it just was, I think, the way that they kind of lit him too, which I didn't even really kind of go into. But there are scenes where again, like you're talking about, it just straight up is filmed like it's lit like a noir movie, like where the light is literally just on their eyes, and it's a close up on the face, and it's just the light like hitting their eyes.
Yeah.
I loved those scenes. Those were so fun. Those were so
Yeah,
good.
but I think that was all just to trick you into thinking it's a noir movie. And even with like the achingly slow beginning, where for like the first 20 minutes, I'm like, what is happening in this movie? Like I understand what's happening, but like, dear God, fucking get
Let's
on
get
with
on
it.
with it.
Yeah,
That's fine.
they were like pretending it was a noir movie, and then it just turned into like, no, this is clearly what it is. Here you go. Which is
Yeah.
not like noir is like, much more investigative and like
Mm-hmm.
slow burning. And this was very slow burning at the beginning, but it was just in this like inauthentic way to like make it longer so you fell into thinking it was a noir movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then ultimately
Well,
there wasn't like that much of a mystery
I
at
mean,
it.
then roll into your rating then out of 6. What would you rate it?
Oh man. Yeah, it's not gonna be high. Yeah, I would say like a two and a half.
I was about to say 2 also. I was like, that's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
funny. I knew you were going to say that. That's so funny.
It just didn't do it for me. This is a double speeder, I would say.
Mhm.
That would be my advice. Is watch this thing on two times
It's
speed.
actually a half-hour movie.
Oh boy. Yeah, it just fell flat for me, and I think like I don't know, it's crazy to me to read people being like, "Oh my God, it's just like so crazy and so insane." And I'm just like, I think I'm just fucked up because it just was like, okay, you know, like like I said, I kind of felt like it was like the most boring battle royale ever.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like also like just the it was very clear from the beginning he was just going to survive anyway. So it was just
Mhm.
kind of like, okay, what's really the deal here? Because if he just died, I don't know how it would have gone on from there. But then also they were like, oh, you know what? No one will expect for him to die. So it was just kind of it was I don't know. It just didn't work for me.
Sure, 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 sure. I mean,
I
that's
need
totally fair.
it's like with Muriel in Courage, uh more noir, less Tzameti. More Tzametis, less noir.
So dumb.
Yeah, I'm glad you know what I'm talking about.
Of course. So, yeah, all right, all right. Well, then, if I'm allowed to give my ratings on this, after revisiting it, after sort of like sitting with it and like and finding the philosophy stuff because of it, I'd bump this up to a 4. I'd say this is a 4 out of 6 for me, just because Yeah, it's not like I like simple, man. I like real fucking simple. I like real short, sweet, to the point. This one felt like that in terms of what I like out of noir films. So like I know you
Hmm.
disagree with it being a noir film, but what I like about noir films, give me a little mystery, give me a little intrigue, give me some shock, get me out. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of like, okay, that's kind of what I like. It hit all of the marks for me for this one. Like for what I
Hmm.
enjoy like stylistically too. I think the choice to put it in black and white helped out a lot. But that was, that's just for me personally. I'm enjoying a lot more black and white films these days. I think the composition for a lot of these shots too is very interesting. With like I said, the types of lenses that they used are very interesting, and I know that means fuck all to you, like as watching it, but like I really appreciated the types of lenses because like even when they were in the small spaces, the camera would move ever so slightly, and you would see how much of around like the spaces around the room you were able to see, almost like a peripheral vision while you're looking at the shot. Like that's kind of what the lens was able to do. Very interesting how it kind of like distorted everything on the sides. It was just a
Hmm.
very little trippy effect, kind of added to like a dreamlike quality of it. You know what I mean? Kind of
Hmm.
setting this in like almost like a fantasy world.
I mean, it definitely looked good and was, well shot. I think ultimately that's the biggest thing is like as I think about it more, I do really want to say I didn't like it, but I can't. It's not like other movies where I've like railed against them very passionately because
Yeah.
I'm like, this doesn't make sense. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like, no,
It
it
was
all,
logical. It was very A
yeah,
to B to C. Yeah,
it
very yeah,
it
I
all
see
it
what you
all
mean.
makes enough
Yeah.
sense. I
Hmm.
just feel like I don't know.
There could have been more in there.
It's just missing that secret sauce for me
For
personally.
sure, for sure. And I
But
think like for me it wouldn't be like a high four, you know what I mean? But
mhm.
it is still at that point because I really enjoyed the act of watching it, and I liked the, just kind of, and that's why I liked the fucking original better because watching the other one, like the remake, and I was just like, cool, what the fuck is 50 Cent doing? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I don't doubt that the remake is worse.
Oh,
But
it's absolute ass, dude.
yeah, I think it's ultimately it just didn't work for me, but I do want to just make sure that I kind of give this little caveat of like it's
Yeah.
not I can't think of one off the top of my head, but other like uh shit, I almost thought of the name of it. The one with like the really good cinematography, but the rest of it didn't work for me about like the serial killer's kids.
Oh, megalomaniac.
Thank you,
Mhm.
Megalomaniac. Yeah, like it's not like that where I'm like I have like a passionate reason behind it. It's
You
just
fucking hate that movie.
I do, but you know what I mean? Like it's not that for this movie. It's just
Oh man.
I'm just like, okay. Like I'm just not seeing what other people see, but it's
Mhm.
not like I'm like guys, it's clearly the opposite of that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
No, like
like,
that's what I mean. It's not like it for me. It's not fantastic, but it's not terrible by any means at all. Like you know what I mean. I think it's a little bit above average, if anything, and just the ideas that they were being presented with. You know what I mean. I think like that was a very like good on you for exploring this type of like notion. Like it really was. It could have been a two sentence pitch that they built the entire movie off of. And that's kind of what it feels like. You're right, but it worked for me. It was cool. I like crime movies. I've always loved gangster films. Like ever since a kid, I've always loved gangster films. I've loved noir films. I love the mystery of it, the intrigue.
I mean, I do too, but I just feel like ultimately, like it just wasn't mysterious enough or set up enough. Like at the beginning, they're just like, there's a job that the guy who was supposed to pay you did. And I don't know about you, but if I was like not paid for someone and then they were like, you could do another job, I'd be like, go
Yeah,
fuck yourself. I don't want more.
absolutely. Go fuck.
I'm going through the shit in your house and I'm out of here.
Yeah,
Like if I
exactly.
was this guy, if I was this roofer,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that would have been my
Going through
recourse. Would have been you didn't do any fucking you're not gonna pay me. This guy's sister's gonna sell the house without ever coming
Yeah.
here. I'm just gonna
Hmm.
take some shit and I'm
Hmm.
out,
Yep.
Like
Exactly. Got me a PS5
That's
and
right.
a couple of trinkets, man.
That's right.
So yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, I do agree, and like I said, I do see it. I
I,
That's what kind of just left me. That's where I'm left with it.
yeah.
You know?
I mean I like the genre as well. I just this to me just did not work, but it's not that it's completely flawed to its core.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
just
yeah.
simply did not hold my interest.
Sure, sure,
And
sure. Yeah,
and I
totally.
think for us talking about movies, it's important for me to like draw the line between those two differences there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, also like people can misconstrue like what we're kind of going for. Like you, that's why I always urge people to go and watch the movies yourself, make up your own decision about it. You know what I mean? Because we can kind of give you our insight only so much as to what it did for us. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Out
it
of
really is all
13 Zemetis,
subjective.
I'm giving it like 3.
That's so good. I should have said that. So, God damn it. Thank you for making that joke. That was
We
good.
should have rated this out of
That was
Zemetis.
Tzameti. So stupid. Maybe that'll be the thing going forward. We just find something from the movie that
How many Zemetis?
anyway, yeah, yeah. So we're landing on a 4. We're landing on a 4. I would watch it again. I'd watch it again with people who hadn't seen it and just kind of just just want to enjoy a nice little action film. I'd show it to people who were less into horror than anything and be like, yeah, you can handle this one.
Look, if I'm gonna watch a black and white French movie and have a bad time, it's gonna be Singapore Sling.
Yeah. Well, that was no, that was Greek.
Is it
That
Greek?
was Greek. Yeah, yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. I was gonna say.
It doesn't diminish the
I mean,
joke.
it's exactly yeah.
All right. Is Man Bites Dog in black and white?
Yes,
Okay, it would be
yes.
Man Bites
It would be
Dog.
man bites dog. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the correct answer. Yes.
I did see people comparing them, and I was just like, how dare you?
I don't know about all. Nah, I don't know about all that, man. Like, and I love both of these movies. I don't know about all that.
People feel the urge to be like, these are the same movies about
Yeah,
movies that
yeah.
are not the same movies.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, what are we getting next weekend? Hit them with the plugs. Let them know where they can find us and all that.
Next week is my turn, and I feel like it kind of works in tandem with this movie. My feelings aside, uh, The Game by David Fincher.
I'm so excited to revisit. I mean, I think visit this for the first time. I don't know if I've ever seen this movie. That's why I'm so excited about it.
It was really between this and Falling Down, and I want to do Falling
We will
Down
do Falling Down.
later.
We will do Falling Down for 100%. My dad showed me that movie way too young.
Falling Down it's fucking crazy. They're
Yeah,
both
it's a
nuts.
that's a good ass movie.
I had to double check that they weren't the same director. That's Joel Schumacher.
Schumacher, yeah.
This
Yep.
one's David Fincher. But
Hmm.
yeah, you wanna see a fucking uh noir spiraling crime thriller, underworld, waking world, type of thing. That's
I think
this is gonna blow your fucking balls off.
I'm hoping, man. I'm excited. I just know the cast. I fuck with Fincher. Like I'm
Yep,
just ready for the.
Douglas, Penn,
Yeah, dude.
uh,
I know,
some
man. That's fucking
others.
crazy. I know. It's gonna be a good one. I can't wait. So, where can they find us?
You can find us if you're looking for me. You better check under the sea, because that is where you'll find me. The Devil's Work Podcast, 2021. No, um, we are on Instagram at the Devil's Work Pod. We're
Yup.
on Facebook and TikTok at the Devil's Work Podcast. You can find us on any of your podcatchers of choice, and please give us a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, an attaboy. You can type anything you want on the iTunes, and we'll read them once we start getting them.
Yup. Yup.
But yeah, that would help us a lot. You can reach us at the Devil's Work Podcast at gmail.com. Let us know if there's something we missed. If there are more Zumedis out there that you would like counted, whatever it may be,
That
just let us know. I
was good.
think that is everything.
You can find me on Twitch. I'm doing we're doing watch alongs a lot of the time. I do music editing, photo editing, play some video games. We're over there on twitch.tv/sideshow. PSY, spell it right.
There you go.
And I if I can for a second, I don't want to bring it down too much, but I do want to acknowledge
Hmm.
there was a loss that I had recently that I feel like is worth mentioning on this show. The bassist for 156 Silence, Lucas Booker, passed away very suddenly recently, and it was very sad to see that because as much of a fan as I am of their music, and we've had Jack on the show multiple times, I consider them friends, and it was really hard seeing that this weekend and kind of just having to come to terms with a lot of that. So I
Hmm.
just want to express my love and condolences to the family and to the 156 crew, like all of you guys. So sorry about the loss. Lucas was an incredible person, human being, musician, and just an all-around beautiful soul. Like incredible fucking incredible person all around, just to be in the presence of. Fantastic guy, definitely gonna be missed. I am so heartbroken, man. It's hard to put into words to really express this one, but just want to say, yeah, hearts go out to the family, and yeah, sorry about that, you guys. You guys,
Yeah.
I love you guys very dearly. So hang in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hoping
Absolutely,
hoping the best for everybody involved. So maybe this week we won't end on a joke. We'll just tell you guys,
absolutely.
go check out some 156
Yes,
and
please go bump it. Go in his honor. Please do that.
yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you for coming by. We will see you next time. And oh man, I am just. It's been a lot, man. If you are listening to these episodes as they come out, I apologize for how fucking dark we've gotten on this subject matter. It's been rough, man.
It's okay.
So,
It's only going to get worse from here
exactly.
because this movie did nothing for me, which
Yeah.
means I
The
need a
next
harder
one,
hit.
exactly harder hit.
We
Just
need some
fucking A
real
minus.
fucked up shit. Yeah.
All right, you guys. We'll see you next time. Hang in there. Later.